As winter ends, the forest of the Ardèche still seems asleep. And yet, there are all kinds of activities going on. Spring is the time when a whole population gets busy studying, preserving, and tidying up these natural spaces. This communal forest of the Mont d'Ardèche Regional Natural Park is managed by the agents of the French National Forests Office.
See, the track is there. The stream just behind the cars is here, on the edge of the plots.
The forest wardens are choosing which trees will soon need to be felled.
We're planning to remove 350 cubic meters.
And the deciduous trees?
Well, of course, we don't touch them.
This is an indispensable tool. It's a marking hammer, which we use to mark the trees that have been chosen to be felled for their wood.
It's not a matter of cutting down all kinds of trees. The foresters look for and hammer only the maritime pines. It's an invasive species that impedes the growth of local varieties like the Salzman pine.
Looking up, I can see several maritime pines growing over two Salzman pines. So I'll choose the one that's blocking them the most. Here, the lumberjack will start soaring above the mark.
Each tree is marked with the National Forests Office seal, and the trunk's diameter is recorded.
55.
The maritime pines will be felled in a few months' time and sold for 10 to 15 euros per cubic meter. Felling to allow certain species to regenerate, but also replanting where necessary. Here, 80 hectares went up in smoke last summer. So the foresters are planting 500 saplings.
The men are planting Salzman pines that were grown in a nursery. These are 2 years old.
Just like with the felling, the local variety is given preference.
It's our local pine, so by protecting it, we're preserving the biodiversity. The species is classified Europe-wide by Natura 2000. And as it's on their special protection list, local authorities and other public institutions are duty-bound to preserve it.
In France, only a quarter of forests belong to the state. All the rest are privately owned.
I bought these forests to harvest chestnuts and for my firewood. I mainly heat my home with wood, so this simplified things. But I soon realized that it's a big responsibility to own parcels of forest. You're the owner of a small part of the planet, so it's important to know what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong.
Spring is the time for our forest owner to get grafting. On his young wild chestnut trees, he's implanting a local species he's particularly fond of.
The variety I'm grafting is a Guyana chestnut. Chestnuts like cherries, apples, and all fruit have different varieties, and this one is really tasty.
Every year, he harvests up to 600 kilos of chestnuts. A few kilometers away, these volunteers have the tricky task of remarking the hiking paths before the summer.
This mark's not very clear. It's faded in the wind and rain.
They'll repaint the faded mark.
Just a little. The beech tree shouldn't be marked all the time.
Why?
If you rub too much, the tree suffers. These are the colors that mark a main national hiking route.
Donc jaune
Yellow above,
en haut, rouge dessous.
red below.
On va s'arrêter là.
We'll stop here because there's a risk. People could take the wrong path and end up in the stream, which could be dangerous. So as we're here, we'll put a cross.
Une croix.
Where?
Là, on va la mettre là.
Right here.
Wouldn't it be better on a tree?
Ouais, mais là, il faut couper. Il faudra...
Moi, ça, je trouve que c'est pas...
I don't think this is right. You should have asked the 6 of us first.
À nous 6. On aurait
We should have voted on it.
We can't vote on that.
What's this, a revolution?
A cross will make the place safe. In this département, there are 7,000 kilometers of paths to maintain. A third of France is covered by forests. During the summer period, like every year, they'll welcome 500 million visitors.